Before you hire a McKenzie friend, watch this. If you are representing yourself in family court and you're looking for a McKenzie friend, I want you to understand something before you hand over a single fucking penny. Experienced is not a measurement. Experienced at what? For how long? How many hearings? How many fact-finding hearings? How many final hearings? How many cases involving allegations of domestic abuse? How many cases involving parental alienation? How many bundles have they prepared? How many position statements? How many judges have they actually watched them work? Because apparently, in the wonderful world of McKenzie Friends, you can put the word experienced next to your name and everybody's supposed to go, oh, brilliant, excellent, fantastic, shut up and take my money, just take it. No, you're entering family court, not buying a fucking toaster. Here's the directory problem. Let's find a McKenzie friend. I'm not going to tell you everybody listed on there is useless. That would be ridiculous, but the majority of them are. There may be some very capable people on there, maybe. But here's what should concern you as a consumer. What exactly has the directory verified? Because even the website itself says that some profiles have been compiled from publicly available information and that those people aren't necessarily affiliated with the site. Think about that for a second. You could look at a directory, see somebody's face, see their location, see various categories and specialisms, and naturally think, right, this is one of their McKenzie friends. Except apparently that isn't the case. So immediately, as a litigant in person, you need to stop treating a directory listing like it's professional accreditation, because it's not. Now, before we move on any further, why I removed myself from Find a McKenzie Friend. And I need to make this very clear. I'm not some bloke who's discovered this website yesterday and decided to make a YouTube video about it. I was on it. In fact, I was one of the earlier McKenzie friends to use the platform. At the very beginning, I thought the concept made sense. I just started out a directory where litigants in person could find people offering McKenzie friend support. Fine, I thought. Good idea. I used it. I had a profile. And then information come to my attention about Prince Dominic, which for me personally raised extremely serious concerns, including allegations concerning domestic violence. I'm deliberately using the word allegations here because I'm not going to stand on YouTube and pretend I personally witnessed something I haven't. But what I learned was serious enough that I wanted nothing further to do with the platform. That's the important bit. I chose to leave. I wasn't desperately trying to get onto the website. I wasn't upset because they wouldn't accept me. I was already there. And I made the conscious decision that I didn't want to be associated with it anymore. Nothing to do with it. And then something very strange happened. According to my experience, after I removed myself, I ended up back on the website. And not because I'd changed my mind. That'd be stupid. And not because I'd asked to rejoin. Not because I'd suddenly thought, actually, sod my concerns, let's get the profile back up. I didn't want to be there. Full stop. And then a public warning appeared about me. Now, let's stop there for a second, because this is where litigants in person need to start thinking critically. A directory is supposed to help you assess McKenzie friends. But what happens if the person controlling the directory also has a dispute with one of the people being assessed? Who assesses the assessor? Who checks whether a warning is fair? What evidence has been considered? Does the person being criticized get a meaningful right of reply? Is there an independent appeals process? Or can somebody who controls the platform simply decide who is trustworthy and who isn't? Because there is an enormous distinction. Now, and let's look at the reviews. And this is the bit that I find fascinating, really fascinating. If you look at the presentation of the directory, Prince Dominic appears alongside glowing comments. Brilliant, professional, helpful, experienced, wonderful. But then leave the ecosystem. Go somewhere the business doesn't directly control. Look at independent review platforms such as Trustpilot or find McKenzieFriendReviews.com. And suddenly the picture becomes considerably more complicated. There are very positive reviews there, but there are also extremely serious negative reviews and complaints. So here's my question. Why does the picture change depending on where you're looking? Now, I'm not telling you which reviews to believe. I'm telling you to notice the difference, because that's what due diligence is. Now compare that with me, and here's where I'll happily put myself under exactly the same microscope. Search me on the website properly. Search me, Jason Appleyard, McKenzie Friend. Don't just search the website of somebody I've fallen out with. Search everywhere. Google Jason Appleyard. McKenzie Friend. Watch my videos. Read what my clients say. Look at how long I've been doing this for. Look at the cases I've discussed. Look at the level of detail I understand. Look at whether I can actually explain family proceedings rather than just repeating, "Hi, I'm highly experienced." And if you find criticism of me, read it. I'm not frightened of criticism. I use it to improve myself. But also ask, where is it coming from? Does the person publishing it have a dispute with me? What evidence supports it? Can you find the same criticism independently? Is there a pattern? Or does the criticism mysteriously live in one particular place controlled by somebody with whom I've had a disagreement? Because context matters. It matters a lot. Reviews need context. This is why blindly counting stars is for laughing stupid. Someone says, Dominic has 35 reviews. Okay, lovely. What does it prove? I've already shown you that independent platforms contain both glowing praise and serious complaints about the same organization. And that's normal. Every business gets criticism eventually. If you've been doing anything remotely controversial for long enough and you've got a completely spotless internet record, I'm almost more suspicious. Apparently, you've discovered the only profession in Britain where nobody has ever met a dickhead customer. Congratulations. What matters isn't whether somebody has a negative review. It's what does the review allege? Is there evidence? How did the professional respond? Can you see the criticism on independent platforms? Does the review system allow criticism in the first place? Those are much better questions than how many stars have you got? Another bigger picture and the bigger principle. And this isn't really about Dominic. It isn't even really about me. It's about information asymmetry. You're a frightened parent. You're facing court. You type McKenzie Friend into Google. You see a professional looking directory. You see profiles, badges, specializing, specialisms, reviews, warnings. The natural psychological assumption is somebody authoritative must have checked all of this. But have they? That's the question. Because the person controlling the platform controls presentation. They control categories. They control descriptions. They control what warnings appear. They may control which material remains visible. And therefore, you cannot outsource your judgment to a directory. Why? I am different. And yes, of course, I'm selling my services. Of course I am. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes explaining why you need to scrutinize McKenzie Friends and then finish with, anyway, good luck. Here's Kevin from Doncaster. I want you to use my services. I think I'm fucking good at what I do. But here's my proposition. Don't just take my word for it. Test me. Ask how many years I've been doing this. Ask what sort of hearings I've dealt with. Ask me what a fact-finding hearing eventually involves. Ask me about Practice Direction 12J. Ask me about Section 7 reports. Ask me about Ask me about child impact reports. Ask me about prohibited steps orders, specific issues orders, enforcement orders. Ask me how I structure a position statement. Ask me what happens when your own evidence damages your case. Ask me what I would tell you if I thought you were the problem, because I'll answer you. And if I don't know something, I'll tell you. I don't know. That's infinitely more valuable than somebody whose profile says experienced. Experienced how? What? At court? At origami? At paperwork? At posting motivational quotes? At making directories? At living in apparently 17 towns simultaneously? Give me something measurable. Now, this is the line I want litigants to remember. So here's the takeaway. Don't ask, is this person on a McKenzie Friend website? Ask, what have they actually done? Don't ask, have they got good reviews? Ask, where are those reviews? Who controls them? And what do independent sources say? Don't ask, does the website say this person is trustworthy? Ask, who gave the website the authority to decide that? And don't even take my word for it. Research me as aggressively as I'm telling you to research everybody else. Because I don't want clients who hire me because I've got a shiny badge. I want clients who look at me, who look at the evidence and conclude, this bloke, i.e. me, actually knows what the fuck he's doing. That's the standard. Not a profile, not a badge, not 35 glowing reviews sitting inside somebody else's ecosystem. Evidence, experience, transparency. And if someone doesn't like you asking for those things, you probably learned more about them than any 5-star review could ever tell you. No experience required. And here's where things get particularly interesting. On the same website promoting McKenzie Friends as providing expert, affordable court support, there's been an advert associated with Prince Dominic advertising an opportunity to become a McKenzie friend. No experience required. I'm sorry, what? We're dealing with people's children, domestic abuse allegations, fact-finding hearings, non-molestation orders, parents who haven't seen their children for months, people walking into court absolutely fucking terrified. And apparently, we're simultaneously talking about expert support and no experience required. Does anyone see the contradiction? Those two phrases need a rather serious conversation, because technically, yes, there is no statutory qualification called McKenzie Friend. No, there isn't a regulator handing you a shiny badge saying, "Congratulations, Dave. You now understand Schedule 1 Children Act application." But that's precisely why you, the consumer, have to investigate. Here we are. Experienced McKenzie Friends. Wow. Here we are. This is amazing. Absolutely amazeballs. So let's have a look. There we are. Now. Don't be fooled. But here's another thing I noticed. Search these directories by location, and you can see the same people cropping up all over the place. Let me show you. Now these, look, top rated. 34 reviews, 5 out of 5. Yet, you can go to Trustpilot and you've got so many shit reviews. So why don't these reviews, the poor reviews, get put onto here? That's got to be a question worth asking, surely. Now, let's just load this up. This is the other thing that makes me laugh. 3.2 million. Right. We'll do this one at a time, first of all. Verified DBS, okay. Rated, okay. McKenzie Friend, okay. Oasis Legal, all right. Top rated. Where's the reviews? How can be? What's top rated about this person? Where's the reviews? Top rated. Where's the reviews? Where's the reviews? Where are the reviews? How can they be top rated? Granted, you can say these ones are top rated because they've got reviews. But these ones don't. These ones don't. They're paid for marketing. They're paid for Find a McKenzie Friend to tell people they're top rated, even if they're not. Now, this is where it gets even better. Experienced. Now, this one's not even on top rated, but he's got 21 reviews. Experienced, and it's not top rated. Why has this one got 17 reviews? It's experienced and it's not top rated. When you've got up here, look, these ones who, you could say these ones were experienced, but McKenzie Friend for Asians. What the fuck is you wrong with you, woman? What the fuck? Is that not racist? Oh, my life. Some people just confuse me. Right. So then we've got these ones here. This is how stupid this whole fucking website is, right? Right. McKenzie Friend, administrator. Okay. You're a leading provider. Okay, whatever. Show me a Shah. Intermediate of what? Intermediate what? Beginner. Now, Katie Revel is not a beginner. She is not a beginner. Yeah, she's not a beginner. She's been in the industry for ages. These are not beginners. McKenzie Friend. Well, fucking hell. Of course it's a McKenzie Friend. That's what's on the website. Now, this is where it's funny. Look. Freelance. Look at the locations. Southport, South Shields, Skegness, Sittingbourne, Scunthorpe, Scarborough, Sale, St Helens, Evesham, Erith, Hemel Hempstead, Hayward's Heath, Haverhill, Havant. These are quite a distances apart. Hatfield, just makes me laugh. And it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing that people actually fall for this. Now, this is brilliant. So we've got no experience required. But then we've got dealing with kids. Promoting McKenzie Friends as providing expert, affordable court support. There has been an advert associated with Prince Dominic advertising an opportunity to become a McKenzie Friend. No experience required. I'm like, what? So what? We're dealing with people's children. Domestic abuse allegations, fact-finding hearings, non-molestation orders, parents who haven't seen their children for months, sometimes years, people walking into court absolutely fucking terrified, and apparently we're simultaneously talking about expert support, experts, and no experience required. Contradictory, or what? Because technically, yes, there is no statutory qualification called McKenzie Friend. There isn't a regulator handing your shiny badge saying, "Congratulations, Dave. You now understand Schedule 1 Children Act applications. Well done." But that's precisely why you, the consumer, have to investigate. Don't be fooled by professionals. Here's another thing I noticed. Search these directories by location, and as we've just seen, people will be cropping up all over the place. Different towns, different areas, different alleged specialisms. Now, maybe there's a perfectly innocent explanation and technical explanation. Maybe it's how the directory search engine works. Fine. Then explain it. Because if somebody appears as a McKenzie Friend in Croydon, then Stratford upon Avon, then Ogbury, then Richmond, and then Cromer, at some point, I'm expecting to find them representing somebody in fucking Narnia. And the issue isn't geography. The issue is transparency. Does the consumer understand what they're looking at? Does specializing in genuinely mean that the person has extensive experience in that subject? Does the location mean they operate there? Are the profiles claimed? Are they verified? Are they paying members? Who checked the experience? What was checked? These are not malicious questions. They are basic consumer questions. Now, reviews are not experience. Don't even start about the reviews. Absolutely amazing. Really supportive. Lovely person. Made me feel comfortable. Wonderful. I am delighted. But none of those things necessarily establish legal knowledge. My mum's supportive. Well, she was. I wouldn't send her into a fact-finding hearing armed with Practice Direction 12J. Being nice is important. Being compassionate is important. Being calming is important. But competence matters as well. A 5-star review saying, "Dave really reassured me," doesn't tell me whether Dave understands hearsay. Doesn't tell me whether Dave can identify an evidential contradiction. It doesn't tell me whether Dave understands the difference between allegations, findings, and safeguarding concerns. It doesn't tell me whether Dave can analyse a Section 7 report. And it certainly doesn't tell me whether Dave knows when to shut the fuck up in front of a judge, which incidentally is quite an important courtroom skill. Just putting it out there. So here's what you should ask. When you're interviewing a McKenzie friend, don't ask, are you experienced? Of course they're going to say yes. Of course they are. Ask, how much experience? Give me numbers. Give me dates. Give me examples. How many hearings have you attended? How many years have you been doing this? How much work is private children proceedings? What percentage involves domestic abuse allegations? How many fact-finding hearings have you supported? Have you worked with litigants dealing with Section 7 reports? Have you helped prepare Scott schedules, chronologies, position statements, bundles, appeals, applications to vary or enforce orders? What don't you deal with? The last question is important because genuinely experienced people normally know their limitations. Bullshitter apparently specializes in fucking everything. Children, divorce, domestic abuse, employment, immigration, debt, probably conveyancing if you catch them after lunch. And now let me sell myself. For some of you watching this will say, oh, Jason, you're only saying this because you sell McKenzie Friend services yourself. Correct. Of course I do. I'm not hiding it, am I? But I don't think I'm hiding it anyway. And it's a big difference because I do want your business. So interrogate me. Don't hire me because you've watched a few of my videos and thought, that bloke sounds confident. Question me, challenge me, ask me about my experience. Ask me what I've actually done. Ask me about the types of cases I've worked on. Ask me about the disappointments I've had. Ask me about what I think the weaknesses are in your case. In fact, that's probably one of the biggest differences in how I work. I'm not going to sit there telling you that you're amazing and your ex is a narcissist and the judge is definitely going to see through everything. No, because that's not the case. That's not the case at all. That's not case preparation, at least anyway. That's emotional masturbation. And I'll tell you when your ex is talking bollocks, but I'll also tell you when you're talking bollocks. And that's what you're paying me for. I don't sell certainty. I cannot promise you an outcome. Neither can any solicitor. Neither can any barrister. Neither can Prince Dominic. Neither can anybody else on a directory. The judge isn't ringing us on Sunday night asking what order we'd like made on Monday morning. Family proceedings don't work like that at all. What I can do is help you become better prepared, help you understand what matters, help you stop wasting 3 pages explaining something the judge doesn't need to know, help you identify evidence, help you structure an argument, help you understand the difference between this feels unfair and this is legally relevant. The two things are very, very different. I'll also tell you when you've obviously got it wrong. This is another massive problem in the industry. Some McKenzie friends discover very quickly that they're telling clients what they want to hear is extremely profitable. You're definitely being alienated. Yep, I can see that. Yep, definitely. She's definitely a narcissist. Yep. Kafka's a corrupt. Yep. The judge is biased. Of course. Yep. Everyone's against fathers. Oh, definitely. Mate. Sometimes Kafkas are appalling. Sometimes allegations are demonstrably false. Sometimes mothers manipulate proceedings. Sometimes fathers are treated terribly. I've spoken about those things repeatedly, but sometimes that is the problem. Sometimes your evidence is shit. And sometimes your messages are aggressive. Sometimes you've behaved badly. Sometimes you're so obsessed with proving your ex is evil that you've completely forgotten that there's a child in the middle of all of it. And if you're paying me, I will tell you, because I'd rather lose a client than help somebody march confidently into court carrying a suitcase full of fucking nonsense. What McKenzie Friends can actually do and understand the role. A McKenzie Friend isn't automatically your advocate. Government guidance is quite clear. They can generally provide a moral support, take notes, help with your papers and quietly advise you. They do not automatically have the right to address the court or question witnesses. And that matters because if someone sells themselves to you like they're basically a barrister without the wig, start asking questions. The court retains control. You're the litigant. If your case It's your case. You are the person ultimately responsible for understanding what's going on. Do your due diligence? So before employing me or Dominic or anybody else for that matter, do your homework. Search their name, read the good reviews, read the bad reviews as well. Ask them about the bad ones. Look how long they've actually been operating. Ask whether they're insured. Ask about qualifications. Ask about court experience. Ask exactly what your money buys. Ask what happens if they can't attend. Ask about refunds. Ask who will actually deal with your case. Ask whether the person you're speaking to is the person turning up at court. And if somebody becomes angry because you're asking reasonable questions before giving them money, congratulations. They've just answered one of your questions for free. And why use me? Why should you? So why should you use me and my services? Not because I'm the cheapest, not because I'm going to tell you everything you want to hear, and not because everything's going to be fine, and definitely not because I'll tell you that you're always right. Use me because I understand the family court isn't won by shouting the loudest. It's preparation, it's evidence, it's credibility, proportionality, strategy, and understanding what the court actually needs to decide. I don't need you dependent on me. I want you dangerously well prepared without me, because ultimately the strongest litigant in person isn't somebody who's found themselves in a courtroom savior. It's somebody who understands their own case. The hard-hitting ending. Here we are. This is the fundamental problem with McKenzie Friend industry. The barrier to entry is incredibly low, while the consequences for the client can be incredibly high. You could be dealing with whether your child lives with you, whether you see them, whether allegations are found proved, whether restrictions are imposed, whether you and your relationship with your child survives the next 12 months intact. So don't choose somebody because a directory tells you they're experienced. Ask, experienced how? Don't choose somebody because they've got 5 stars. Ask, 5 stars for what? Don't choose somebody because they call themselves an expert. Ask, who established the expertise? And don't choose me because I'm standing here telling you I'm shit hot. Although obviously I am shit hot. I'm fucking good at what I do. Choose me because I'll let you test the claim, ask the questions, look at the work, challenge me, because competent people don't need you to suspend your critical thinking. They encourage it. If the person helping you navigate family court doesn't want you asking difficult questions, imagine how they'll cope when the judge starts asking them difficult questions. So yeah, be aware, be vigilant, be safe. And if you're looking for support, maybe give me a call, because I've helped over 10,000 people now in the last 15 years. Some indirectly, lots of them indirectly, lots of them directly being in court. There's very few people who've got the amount of experience that I've got. I want to keep it that way.